to stop laughing about that.
Okay, that is the best teaser for the next segment ever. You're listening to Breitbart News Tonight with John Pinder, Rebecca Manser, and Ann Coulter. Stay with us. And we've got the one and only Ann Coulter, author of a gajillion bestsellers, including Resistance is Futile. We've been talking about Epstein's Gail Friday, his fellow rapist and child sex trafficker, who's finally been apprehended. And we were just before the break, and you teased something about a millionaire plumber. Okay,
yeah.
What's this story, guys?
Maybe no one else will find this as hilarious as I do. It just reminds me how I'm so glad I'm involved in politics, because these interesting characters, and I don't know anything about this person, but our mutual friend, Ryan Jerdusky, who, bless his soul, was running a fantastic PAC on behalf of Chris Kobach, another man I would like to have president in front of his name. He's running for the Senate from Kansas, and he's the most magnificent human being on earth on all the important issues, most importantly, immigration. So, so Ryan is just like sending in, hey, here's my latest mailer, and he throws in this line, and that millionaire plumber is still running mailer after mailer, ad after ad, bashing Marshall, who's Kobach's competition. I don't know who the millionaire plumber is. I'm hoping it's because he cares about immigration as much as I do, and I'm insisting that I meet him and have coffee with him because he sounds like a fine fellow if all his ads are doing is bashing Kobach's opponent. So I just love this guy.
Yeah, I think his name is Bob Hamilton, and he's this plumber out in Kansas that decided to run in the Republican primary, and apparently he's like a millionaire, he's got a ton of money, and he's just putting all of his money into his campaign, and his whole campaign is just attacking Roger Marshall, who is Chris Kobach's opponent.
Please tell me it's because he's good on immigration. That will make him a hero.
I don't know anything about him except I know that he's a plumber.
I love it.
I'm going to be really
sad
plumber. If you just I don't know, house it in from Marshall for some other reason.
Yeah, Ann, have you been watching these other primary races, by the way? Like this one that just happened where this woman, Lauren Boebert, just ousted this guy, Scott Tipton, in, I think it's Colorado's 3rd district, and he had voted for like all of these visa program expansions, and she attacked him on all of those fronts. And I didn't realize this, but she made a name for herself like years ago. She opened up this restaurant, and all of the waitresses carry guns on their hips.
That is so cool. And wait, what state is that in? By the way, I'm following through your reporting.
Yeah, that's Colorado. That's Colorado. And then you'll love this. Out in Virginia, this happened last month. Out in Virginia, this guy, Bob Good, ran a total Dave Brat campaign. His only thing he would talk about was legal immigration levels and how they have to be reduced to reduce foreign competition against American workers and boost U.S. wages. He beats Denver Riggleman, the Republican incumbent that Trump endorsed, who voted for all of the visa expansions.
Oh, yeah, and mention that Trump endorsed the gun-toting chick's opponent, too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, all of Trump's endorsements, which are, he's endorsing all of the establishment Mitch McConnell, Jared Kushner candidates, not the MAGA candidates, as in his refusal to endorse Chris Kobach, and they're all going down. These politicians, they can't learn. It's so frustrating, and it's really sweet of Americans that they keep trying to send the message in the exact same way. They keep voting for the candidates who are railing against immigration. They get those candidates in, and very few of them tell the truth, our president being the case in chief here. And then there were those two down south, too.
Oh, yeah. You mean like, we got Jeff Sessions.
Well, we had anti-immigration or immigration restrictionists, however you want to put it, patriotic immigration reformers, running against Trump-endorsed candidates, and the Trump-endorsed candidates losing. Oh, the one from Mark Meadows' seat.
Oh, yeah. Madison.
Cawthorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
who beat the more establishmenty candidate in that district. You know what? I want to get your take though on the Jeff Sessions race in Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, John has some breaking news on that.
Yeah, John. What was the breaking news? Go for it.
Well, the breaking news today was from this report out of the Washington Examiner, which is talking about Jeff Sessions' opponent, Tommy Tuberville, who's former football coach in the university circuit and whatnot. And the story was about back in 1999, apparently Tuberville gave a one-game suspension to one of his players who had been charged with a second-degree rape of a 15-year-old girl. And he pled down the charges to this very low-level charge, and he only served a certain amount of time and got fined, whatever. And his punishment by Tuberville, allegedly, was a one-game suspension. But see, Anne, this is what people... For second-degree... Well... But he was charged with second-degree rape, pleaded down to a much lesser crime, as people always do. So never convicted of rape, but charged with it. But Anne, this kind of gets to the point that the Sessions' people, they keep making this point. This guy is so unvetted. And the minute he wins a primary election against Jeff Sessions, who's already been vetted, everyone knows how he is on all the issues, great on all the issues. But the minute this guy, Tommy Tuberville, wins the primary, if he does, the media is gonna make him Roy Moore. They're gonna dump everything out in the general election.
He will definitely be another Roy Moore, and I would not call him unvetted. They're always very well vetted. The media just won't tell us until the day after the primary. I mean, that's what happened with Jack Ryan in Illinois. He was running against Barack Obama. He could have, strangled that disaster in the crib. But no, he was a very wealthy, very impressive candidate. He had worked at Goldman Sachs, made $300 million, gave it up to teach in the inner cities, married a beautiful actress. They had a very nasty divorce proceeding and child custody proceeding, and I described this, I think it's in my book, Guilty. This is why there is not an expression as true as claims made in a divorce filing. It's not where you go to get the truth about somebody. So anyway, she had alleged that he took her to fancy sex clubs in Paris and New Orleans where people were having sex out in the open, and then they left. That was the full. So she accused him of asking to have sex with her and then taking his wife and then taking no for an answer. His responsive pleading said, "No, we went to some avant-garde clubs. We had read about them. The concierge recommended them. Neither of us knew. We walked in. We saw it wasn't for us. We left. I never proposed. We have to." Anyway, because of that, they forced Jack Ryan to drop out. Now, this is the important thing about that. The day after Ryan won the primary, every Chicago newspaper had the full 20-page story, the layout. They had those filings, which were filed under seal. But the Chicago Tribune, I forget which one newspaper it was, just went out to California and said, "We'd like you to unseal this." What's your reasoning? "We think it would be interesting." Oh, okay. A, what's the point of even having things under seal? But B, every newspaper, it's not like they had to read through the filings before writing their stories. They were ready to go. Same thing with Roy Moore. Same thing with down in Florida. What's his name? The congressman, I always forget his name. He was a good guy, Republican, and it was so minor compared to 1 million sex scandals of the Democrats. But he had been sending sort of creepy emails to boy pages. "Ooh, you look really hot in your soccer shorts." No touching, none of that stuff. They wait and drop it on him the day after he wins the primary. So, of course, in all these cases, they forced a Republican to drop out, and the Democrat won. And in Roy Moore's case, they didn't technically force him to drop out, but the Democrat won.
Yeah, I mean, and I love the example you gave there about what's his name, Jack Ryan or whatever, the Illinois thing. The guy was guilty of propositioning his own wife
and taking no for an answer. and that's her allegation.
I mean,
That's the most she could come up with. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and
Yeah.
you gotta think, Anne, that like all of these primaries where the voters are clearly, they're very able to decipher between Trump and the candidates that Trump is endorsing.
Yes.
And in the Sessions case, I can imagine the Sessions campaign has to think, this is boding pretty well for us. Voters can clearly see.
I really hope so. I am worried about the 3D chess types because every once in a while, you don't see quite as much anymore, but I will hear the fanatical Trumpsters, which, will carry him to a 20% popular victory and a 50-state landslide against him. The fanatical Trump supporters will give me this nonsense about it's his fault we have the Russian investigation, which is just utter nonsense. And if you're just going to parrot everything Trump says, I don't know how to, without considering the facts or what smart people are telling you. I really don't know where we go from there. But Sessions certainly deserves to win. I want him back in the Senate. We were talking before I came on, Rebecca, John and I were talking about the Mickey Kaus piece this week in the Magnificent Kaus Files, and it really is. It's fantastic. It's called A Time to Bail. He goes through how if Trump is the nominee and doesn't turn this around, and he does not seem inclined to turn it around because he's hanging on Jared Kushner's every word because of his years and years of experience in running presidential campaigns. And it has been an unmitigated disaster. In the middle of these riots, I'm still seeing ads attacking Biden for voting for a crime bill. Oh my gosh, you can't help this guy. So anyway, Mickey's point is the point I make in Adios America. Immigration amnesty is unlike any other issue. You can repeal Obamacare, you can repeal tax cuts, you can repeal tax hikes. Amnesty is forever. And if they win the presidency, and if it's as much of a disaster as many people think it could be, perhaps I'm one of them, then we also probably lose the Senate. I mean, that's why I've just been pushing for save the Senate, save the Senate, save the Senate, and then you get an amnesty and the country's over and everything we do is pointless. So he says, but if you replace Trump, and this was a very smart point of his, you take away the raison d'etre of this entire election for the Democrats. They are voting because they hate Trump. If Trump isn't the candidate, that's gone. A lot of Democrats will stay home. Okay, good. We killed the wicked witch. Whether that's fair to Trump or not, it is absolutely true that they look at things like voter intensity. One thing I promise you, the Democratic base is white hot. White hot. There will be no sitting this one out or, I'll just say I voted. I won't actually go to the polls. No, they are white hot. And the reason I'm going through all this, I was thinking, who should we get to replace Trump? Because we want a MAGA agenda, but not someone so closely tied to Trump that you keep the Trump hatred going on the left. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, it's Sessions. But then I realized we need him in the Senate. I really just want him to win the Senate seat. We really, really, really need Jeff Sessions in the Senate.
Yeah, see, and that's the issue. Like, I think it's too late for the president to want to bail. Although Lyndon Johnson in March of 1968 was when he announced that he wasn't running for a second term.
Oh, baby cakes. My prediction for a year now has been when Trump realizes he's headed for defeat, he will withdraw at the worst possible moment for the GOP. It'll be like on the eve of the convention. It'll be 2 weeks before the election. Well, I've made America great again. I'll just let Mike Pence take over because he doesn't want to be the one to lose. No, now is better than 2 weeks before the election.
Yeah, no, I mean, even Carville, we don't have enough time to play this clip for you, but even Carville was out there saying, Trump's going to drop out. I mean, I don't know. Do you really think that's even a possibility?
I'm making a recommendation.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I don't know, man. You know what? And, but you've been consistent on all of this, in all of your books, even in Trump We Trust. It was always about the issues. It was never just about the guy. It was the issues. And, going forward, it's got to be about the issues too, wherever this thing leads. And we hope that Trump gets back on the issues, but, it's getting kind of down to the wire. But I want to thank you, as always, for coming on. And I want to encourage everyone to check out your great books, Resistance is Futile, and your columns every week. Go to AnnCoulter.com. You can also read them at Breitbart. And as always, thank you.
We will make America great again.